please open your Abhyas 1 papers and check every question that you have undertaken, that what exactly was the logic that I applied in solving that question, what went right, what went wrong, are there some weak areas, make a list of topics that you have identified in the particular subject. The most important thing to see in your scores is your accuracy levels.
This takes me back to my days when I appeared for prelims examination for the very first time way back in 2007. So I had put in all the effort, right? Like you guys who are putting in, right? But no one told me how to manage my mind before I get the paper. Because those 10 minutes or 15 minutes has a lot of impact on how you're going to attempt the paper.
Please treat Abhyas in a similar way so that you're allocating the right amount of time. If you're stuck on a question, you should know when to leave it and move forward. These things are very, very important.
Right now, your syllabus is your mistakes, which you've got to know through Abhyas, right? So prepare on them, rectify them so that you are not repeating the same mistakes in the future exams.
Hello dear students, my name is Gitika.
Hello everyone, I'm Shivi this side, and today we are gathered here to let you all know about what to do next after Abhyas mock test prelims experience and how to turn that experience into your UPSC prelims success.
Now Abhyas 1 is already over, the scores are out. I'm sure you have seen your scores. And you all must be wondering, what is a good score? How much percentile should I have got? Is my rank good enough to actually clear the prelims examination or not? But let me tell you, just for your information, that the top score in Abhyas 1 was of course 147.46, which is a great score. And the average score of top 1000 students was about 113. But this does not mean that your score is low or your score is not good enough. Please don't think like that. At the end of the day, you have to understand that Abhyas is an examination, is a simulated exercise which you take not only to check your relative scores according to the people around you, but also to understand and identify the types of mistakes, the nature of mistakes that you are making in the actual examination and how to rectify them. Now, there are some key takeaways which there will be from the Abhyas examination. Let's just ask Shivi ma'am, what do you suggest the students can learn from this entire Abhyas simulated exercise?
Gitika ma'am, see, this is the most important thing which we need to tell to our students that what they should take. So firstly, it is very, very important that you should understand that, whatever your scores have been, they are not the actual marks which you will get in your prelims examination. So take it very, very positively. Obviously, this simulated exercise which Vision IAS always conducts every year to help students, lakhs of aspirants for prelims preparation, is to simply make them rehearse for the actual examination. So obviously, here you get your All India ranking, which is very, very important, because at the end of the day, UPSC is about relative competition. Until the time you don't know where you are standing, you will be always in a false world.
Right.
So we have to be in the real world
Correct.
to understand and assess our performance and our preparation level. Secondly, obviously, when we talk about Abhyas, you have your subject-wise analysis also given on the portal. So for example, from here you can assess that which are your weak areas, how you have fared, right? Where you can improve, what more you can do. So all of that you get it from here.
Right, and apart from checking the subject-wise analysis and looking at your scores, your rank, your percentile, that's great. But the key learning has to be question by question. Please open your Abhyas 1 papers and check every question that you have undertaken, that what exactly was the logic that I applied in solving that question, what went right, what went wrong, are there some weak areas, make a list of topics that you have identified in the particular subject. The most important thing to see in your scores is your accuracy levels. So let's just take a look at some of the questions of Abhyas 1 paper, that how we could have solved them better and what are some of the traps that are generally put in place by Vision as well as UPSC. Now, questions could go wrong because you either had a knowledge gap or a conceptual understanding was missing. you were unfamiliar with the topic itself, then yes, we need to go back to the static books. Misreading a question, not carefully reading a statement, not reading the number of zeros correctly, simple questions, silly mistakes, and of course the problem of overthinking.
The biggest problem which the students face, that how do we stop overthinking, because your mind is so overwhelmed, full of data and facts. While preparing, you are so overwhelmed, so you tend to go overboard while reading the question.
So yes, overthinking, like ma'am has said, that overthinking sometimes makes us take decisions in the wrong direction, whereas our straightforward, logical, calm brain knows what is right. So go with your gut feeling and your intuition. Now, if you look at this question, for example, elimination-based question we have here in economics, there was a question related to coconut production in India. Let's look at the second statement. It says nearly 100 million farmers in India depend on coconuts for their livelihood. We all know coconut is a coastal tree. It is not found in the hinterland of India. So it is very unlikely that about 100 million farmers in India would be dependent on coconut for their livelihood. The number would be roughly about 12 to 15% of this number.
Right. Even in this history question, numismatic history of India, we have always emphasized, even the students know by now, that Indus Valley civilization is important. It was always in the news right away, right? So even when you talk about the first statement, the evidence of the earliest punch-marked coins in India could be traced back to Indus Valley civilization. How could this statement be right? Because there was no coinage system in your Indus Valley civilization. So this statement is eliminated. Similarly, when you talk about the second statement, here also the paper setter is actually checking your subtle idea on the timeline. The statement says minting of gold coins in India started under the Gupta period. So everyone knows, whoever is preparing little bit of timeline, that Indo-Greeks के time से gold coins started to be minted. So this statement is also wrong. So 1 and 2 are wrong, and wherever 1 and 2 are there, the option is wrong. So you right away get the answer.
Right. So similarly, there are questions in geography and environment also, which were very much inspired by PYQs or themes from previous year's questions. If you look at this question of UPSC, which asked about the availability of freshwater resources, which are specially available for consumption, human consumption, is about less than 1% of the total water found. The same concept was asked in an assertion reason format, that the rivers are a main source of. Yes, they are a main source of fresh water, for most of the human civilizations have been built around rivers. But at the same time, that is not where the dominant share of fresh water is. In fact, it is in the polar ice caps and glaciers. So concept remains same, but application changes.
Similarly, we give you another example which was there in Abhyas, that how the careful reading should have been done by the students while reading or attempting the question. So this is a question on Ashokan pillars. Now again, if you see the second statement says that the whole column is carved out of a single piece of buff colored sandstone, including the capital. So if someone has read about modern architecture, Ashokan pillars, it's only the monolithic shaft or the pillar which is made out of single stone, and not the whole column including the capital. So if someone is carefully reading this, they are able to see the trap, right? So this is what Gitika ma'am was also highlighting it earlier, that how the careful reading, even the subtle nuances should be looked upon.
Right. And similarly, themes which are very much in news, which UPSC has been emphasizing on for the last 3-4 years, cannot be missed in Abhyas, cannot be missed preparing for in the actual examination. To give you an example, UPSC has been asking questions on sustainable fuel, so sustainable aviation fuel, green hydrogen. These have been the famous favorites of UPSC since the last 3-4 years. So on very similar lines, we asked a very simple question on bioethanol, biodiesel and bio-CNG. And also, if you can see here, UPSC has asked at least 3-4 questions in the last 3 years on green hydrogen, fuel cell electric vehicles. So we framed a question on green ammonia. So all the technologies, emerging technologies, all the topics which are becoming UPSC favorites, because this is what the future looks like for the entire human civilization. You must understand that you are administrators of the future. So UPSC expects you to be aligned with future technologies.
Similarly, if you talk about history, so there are PYQ aligned themes there as well in Abhyas. So for example, this is a UPSC question where they have started, asking questions on regional dynasties and rulers. All these years, all this while you've not been focusing on this area. So now this has become a high yielding area, reason being repeatedly questions are asked on them. So similar type of questions we had kept in Abhyas 1 as well, just to make you align with UPSC thought process, so that anywhere if you are missing out on some theme, you are able to correct that and take corrective actions.
Right, and questions in polity also, so right-based questions, questions on fundamental rights, DPSPs, fundamental duties, you all know that they are high probability topics, but their UPSC is not going to ask you simple questions like what is Article 19 and 14, how you study in the class. They are going to ask you application-based questions like they already have.
In fact, right to menstrual health was in the news.
Yes.
Right?
So, which is exactly why this
Yes.
question was framed. And similarly, right to privacy has been asked twice already by UPSC. So application of what has already been asked and what you have studied is very important. So Shivi ma'am, now we have discussed a little bit about, what were the reasons and how we have framed the questions, what were the logical traps and elimination skills. But this is about a post Abhyas analysis.
Yes.
It is very easy to look back in hindsight and say, oh, maybe you should have done it like this.
Yes.
I want to ask you, which is a most asked question by students, what should the students do on the day of Abhyas or maybe one day prior to Abhyas? How should they mentally align themselves for this exam?
A very relevant question. This takes me back to my days when I appeared for prelims examination for the very first time way back in 2007. So I had put in all the effort, right? Like you guys who are putting in, right? But no one told me how to manage my mind before I get the paper. Because those 10 minutes or 15 minutes has a lot of impact on how you're going to attempt the paper, right? So this is very, very important, and this is again what you have to feel and experience through Abhyas, because this is a kind of dress rehearsal which will help you in improving your performance in prelims examination. So even that time period of 10 minutes or 15 minutes, let's say, is very, very important. So even small things like whether you are carrying your pen or all black pen or not, blue pen or not, those things also matter, right? Carry your watch also, because you never know ki examination hall mein whether the watch is working or not. And some students do have this imbalance of time, right? For them, time is very, very important. They are not able to make sense of time, right? So we never know how things could turn up. The moment you get the paper, first of all, just pat yourself and tell yourself that you're good to go, right? You've done enough hard work, you've done the right things in the right spirit. So obviously you'll be able to sail through. Even if someone gets those kind of questions in the first go, which are not their comfortable areas, flip through it, come to next set of 20 questions, find your sweet spot and go ahead, right? Some people have the habit, I think you must be having the habit of first glimpsing, having the glimpse of the whole paper.
I have to. Whenever I see a question
Yes.
paper, I have to just skim through the pages
Yes.
first to know what is the difficulty level. Make an, at least if I see topics which are more familiar, which I have read, that gives me certain sense of
Right.
comfort that yes, paper is revolving around my comfort zone.
But I have never been like that. For me, it's like, the first set, or probably I'll start from the, back, so that I have to have my sweet spot. I have to have my comfort zone for which I can get the kick, and then I proceed ahead, right? So rehearse all of that. Rehearse in 3 different mocks of Abhyas, so that you are able to, manage your mind, able to calm yourself, because at the end of the day, this is more about mental game rather than, in knowledge game.
Correct.
You will be able to apply knowledge only when you are mentally sane. So you have to save your sanity for the last, right?
Right. So you have rightly pointed out that time management is very, very important aspect in the actual examination, and please treat Abhyas in a similar way,
Yes.
so that you're allocating the right amount of time. If you're stuck on a question, you should know when to leave it and move forward. These things are very, very important. And accuracy is something that we have to focus on. Please do not ask this question, how many questions should I attempt?
Yes.
Ask yourself these questions, how many questions have I got correct?
Yes.
And how many not? If not, then why? This should be the question that has to be asked. And of course, strategic skipping, you should know when this question is out of your comfort zone. You know there's something that could be a trap. Just leave it. It's absolutely fine to leave a question rather than lose 0.66
I would
marks.
emphasize on this even more, that through Abhyas, try to get a sense of your, mindset, which question you should have left altogether.
Right.
Because this is the right time to make that kind of decision making, to know yourself better.
Correct.
Many aspirants focus on whether I know this fact or not, but I feel through Abhyas, you should know how you should appear or attempt the paper.
Right.
So this is also very, very important.
Right. So we have to turn our weaknesses into strengths. Now, what do we do for the next Abhyas? There is a series of steps. Not many days are left.
Yes.
But there is a series of steps that can be followed, which should be followed. And Shivi ma'am will elaborate more on this. That what are some of the steps, what you have to do next in order to prepare for the upcoming Abhyas exam.
So firstly, pick up your Abhyas 1 paper. See it again, run through the questions, if not the whole paper, obviously in entirety. On daily basis, pick up those 10 topics or 10 MCQs and start, reading more about it, right? Identify your mistakes, write them separately, make your mistake logbook, right? This is also very, very important, that you have to track, you have to write your mistakes on a separate book so that you are not repeating the same mistakes. Next, what you can do is, whatever topics or let's say 10 questions you have selected, align them with PYQ themes, go back to your static notes, go back to your class notes, go back to your books and read them through again. Make those topics very thorough. Because if you are having clarity on very important high yielding areas which are aligned with UPSC, your confidence will increase. Because at the end of the day, it will not be random, it will always be aligned with UPSC themes more, right? So that ways you have to also, go back to your papers and see through it, right? Even you have to focus on your PT 365, current affairs. That area is also increasing, day by day. Why? Because UPSC at the end of the day want curious and aware aspirants. They want those administrators who know about what are the emerging technologies, what are the emerging areas which they need to look into, right? So obviously they can't go ignore current affairs. So that is also one thing which they need to do. Regarding CSAT, ma'am, would you like to tell the students?
Well, CSAT is of course a weak area for some people. In fact, sometimes UPSC has asked a very tough CSAT which has made almost everybody nervous and jittery in the exam. The main thing is you need to identify the topics, the subjects, for example, whether your quant or your maths or your DI is rather a little bit weak. So focus on those areas on a daily basis, continue practicing at least 10 to 15 questions from those areas. That is very important. And if you have some strengths, make sure you're sharpening them too. Don't take them for granted. Don't take your reading comprehension skills for granted. Just because you think you can converse with people very comfortably in a language does not mean you have the power to interpret it, analyze it properly. So please don't take anything for granted in CSAT and continue practicing it. Well, so let's go back to understanding what more we can do for Abhyas. We have given you a gist of topics. We have given you a gist of, the steps that can be undertaken for Abhyas. But overall, the key thing, the key takeaway that is there for Abhyas examination is what to do for the next Abhyas. The next Abhyas is not going to be that easy. I won't say that this one was easier, but yes, this was a little relatively easier than all the previous Abhyas. Yes. I'm sure the popular opinion is the same. But the next Abhyas is going to be more logical, more actionable in terms of implementation. You will have to apply the knowledge, the static concepts that you know, and that is what is the skill which is required in the UPSC examination.
More variety of questions, different formats, so that you are adjusting to the surprises and randomness in the paper. It could be lengthy, it could be, a mixed bag of everything. So be mentally prepared to rehearse for the best. This is what I would like to tell you, that, instead of getting bothered that, or having that anxiety that what would be second abhyas. I feel that you should take it in the right spirit to prepare for the best.
Yes, and if a question is too lengthy, don't get bogged down right
Yes.
away. Think that if a question is lengthy, then definitely there must be some trap hidden in it which will help you solve that question. So please take each and every question as it is, go question by question. Block your mind, keep it in silos. This question,
Yes.
okay, next, done. This question, next, done. Don't think about the paper, don't look around people. Don't think about your competitors, what people have been telling you. Just cut out all the noise and focus only on the question that you see in front of you.
Right now, your syllabus is your mistakes, which you've got to know through Abhyas, right? So prepare on them, rectify them so that you are not repeating the same mistakes in the future exams, right? So your syllabus now is not how much you have to cover. Your syllabus has now become what mistakes I don't have to do, right? So take this in right spirit, take this in positivity, and just go ahead and just do your best.
Right.
All
And we
the
wish you
best,
all the very
yes,
best
all
for
the
the
very
upcoming
best.
Abhyas and the prelims examination.
Thank you.
Thank you.